Time has come for me to reveal how I, a professional noob, have proven just how professional a noob I am by beating Isle without jumping. The rules of these runs are pretty simple. I can't under any circumstances use spacebar to jump. The force jumps that happen on the ship and the momentum boost from the squid scooters don't count for this reason. I'm also not allowed to use spacebar inside water to rise to the surface, further preventing the risk that I perform the simple human function of jumping on the surface of the water. For the sake of not getting stuck in terrain due to a known line launcher glitch, I may use spacebar to let go of a zipline for any line launcher I use. And with that, we begin with the easiest possible escape, the air. To accomplish this easy feat, I travel hundreds of studs on foot to reach the Grand Lake, where I find the plane's steering wheel in the fishing hut. Then I travel hundreds of studs more on foot to reach the broken warehouse, where I pick up the propeller. Then I trek through the dangerous slopes of the mountains beyond, and through bushes that attempted to slow down the one and only Agent Illusion Master Illusive, and made my way to the plane shed, where I acquired the plane wheel, the final piece of the puzzle, and made my way to the plane. After assembling it, all I had to do was reach an arm through the plane to touch the pilot's seat, and I was in. But if I were to stop here, the game would be too easy, so I decided to try the next easiest escape. C. This escape is slightly more tricky to pull off without jumping, as I must get back on the impact ship without jumping, and figure out how I would open up the level 2 hold once I was there. So I found a strange rock and found myself at the radio station, where I decided I would take the conveniently located master bypass console and made my way to the military camp, where I acquired a line launcher for easy access to the impact ship. While on my way back to the impact site, I powered the warehouses, which would give me access to the fuel I'd need later. Once the ship was fully in sight, I launched the line to the top of the ship, where I could simply walk down to the level 2 hold and open it up with the master bypass. Once I made my way in and climbed into the decoy module container to grab a decoy, I found out that I did not need a strange rock to get out of the hold, as I could simply climb out of one of the exits. And so I left the ship and the strange rock behind me as I made my way to the warehouses, picked up some fuel, made my way to the docks, and found myself wondering if I could really get on the boat without any special items, which turned out to be the case, as I could walk all the way to the end of the dock and step aboard the boat. I applied the items to the boat and waited out what was left of the night, because I didn't want to enter the sea and have to jump out, and then I escaped in the morning, completing yet another escape. But in my quest to prove that Isle was able to be won without jumping, I met with my first major obstacle, the facility. Why the facility? You know which part normally requires you to jump in order to escape? The laser tunnel. Normally you break open a vent and jump inside. But since I couldn't jump, I needed another way. So I picked up a strange rock so that I could escape the tunnel in case anything went wrong while I was trying to launch a zipline into the vent and went into the facility. I was getting drowsy, and because I neither wanted to take a nap in a facility trap nor find myself face to face with an angry monster after using my rock, I slept at the entrance of the tunnel and attempted to break open the vent. I couldn't get close enough to the vent before the doors closed, so opening the vent before the tunnel closed was out of the question. I started breaking open the vent, but stopped, thinking I could save myself some time opening the vent the next time I came back. So after using the rock, I ran right back to the laser tunnel and found it just so, although I could reach the vent without getting trapped in the tunnel this time. So I opened the vent, triggered the doors, and found out I couldn't actually launch a zipline into the vent. After a few tries, I shot a zipline near the opening of the vent, hoping it was enough to get in. It wasn't, and I had to escape before getting lasered. I repeated my futile attempt to get into the ventilation shaft, fearing this run was hopeless. Then it dawned on me. I wasn't even close to utilizing everything available, and there was just one particular item capable of helping me remedy this bad situation. A tool bag. That's right, the thing that lets you build walls that can also act as platforms. So I went to the plane shed, which was conveniently nearby after escaping the tunnel yet again, grabbed a tool bag, and proceeded to the laser tunnel once again, this time ready to defy the overwhelmingly unfavorable odds. Now you might be thinking,
"But Agent, doesn't the laser destroy the walls?"
I thought so too. Turns out it doesn't. So I was able to take full advantage of this to build a walkway to the vent and use the zipline in combination with the platforms I had made to climb inside the ventilation shaft. All I had to do then was brave the traps to activate and reach the portal, all of which I did without jumping. Then came the truth, which, as you'd expect, was my next major hurdle. Also, if you like what you see so far, please like and subscribe. Thanks! I started as I typically would for a truth run and powered the docks. Then I collected the items I would need to set up my way into the vent in the facility tunnel before I arrived at the docks. Put diving gear on the pump and went into the laser tunnel to set up the platforms for my entrance before teleporting to the bungalows with my strange rock. Using the line launcher I got from the military camp, I made my way to the top of Rock A, grabbed Droney and the line launcher, and made my way to Artifact C. After getting the artifact, I made my way to the docks before I met with the very reason artifacts make these runs so much harder. Agent B6. You see, I can only evade his punches so many times before he slams the ground, which stuns me if I don't jump in time. And since I can't jump to escape his ground slam, I had to use my rock to escape. Now, I needed a line launcher for the facility to guarantee I could climb out of the laser tunnel safely, which meant I'd need to visit the lair to get the only other available line launcher. But during my boat run, I found out that I could not realistically do anything in the lair without expending a line launcher, or perhaps using a squid scooter to leap out of the water. But could I get squid scooters without jumping? Sure enough, I could, and I had the diving gear for the job. So I swam into the sunken cave and acquired both squid scooters. And since I was in the water anyway, I went and grabbed Artifact B before visiting the lair to get a line launcher and upgrade my cart to level 3. Now I had everything I needed to enter the facility, so I made my way to the laser tunnel once more, opened the vent, and made my way through. Using the card, I disabled the security, and after finding out that I normally had to jump to reach Artifact D, realized that I needed to rethink my strategy just a little. So I opened Gate 5, which had a guaranteed line launcher, and used the line launcher to reach Artifact D. After getting myself a pair of goggles, I began making my way out of the facility through the docks exit, only to realize that I couldn't climb out without jumping. So I used my rock and found myself at Villa Front. I decided to go for the climbing tool at Campsite A so that I had some hope of getting through Monkeyland without tremendous difficulty, but not without having to narrowly escape the sniper. After getting the climbing tool, I took the shortcut to the Monkeyland caves near the pond at the back of the mountain. Up to this point, I needed line launchers for pretty much every jump I've had to make, and by now, there were no more guaranteed line launchers available. And this shortcut, as convenient as it is, doesn't save me from having to find a way past the notorious leap of faith to get into Monkeyland. So how was I going to pull this off, given I couldn't solve my problems with the zipline anymore? That's how. Now I could make my way to Artifact A and make my way to the Lotus, all without ever having to jump. I have shown you the battle and exit footage, but you know, Not only is it redundant after all the videos people have made about the truth already, but my game crashed, so I couldn't show you even if I wanted to. So I consider this a win anyway. Besides, we all know it's possible to complete the outro stretch without jumping. Now we move on to the Aisle 9 escapes, starting with the balloon. As expected, I was going to need a line launcher to reach the top of Rock B, which housed the hot air balloon. However, what I should have expected was that normally you have to jump to place the burner. I could have tried a bunch of different things, but if I messed up even once and fell onto a seat, there was no way I could exit the seat without jumping. And since I couldn't get another line launcher without some severe complications, or so I thought as you'll see later in the video, I decided to use a tool bag once again, this time building a staircase up to where I needed to place the burner and ropes. While I was able to easily place the ropes, I had to actually climb into the balloon in order to place the burner. Once I placed the burner, I was able to carefully make my way into the pilot seat and escape with the balloon without ever having to jump. Next up was the feathered, which is much easier by comparison because all I need to do is press the buttons, visit the giver, climb out of the basement, open up the cache wherever it may be, and go to Ape City.
But wait, Agent, don't you need to jump to get over the ape's teeth?
I was concerned about that too, but with the help of a climbing tool and a convenient terrain slope next to the open jaw, I was able to make my way into the dragon's lair and escape the aisle after a thrilling scenic ride on the dragon, all without jumping. Now, how about Hangar and Orbit? Surely I can't beat those without jumping, can I? Let's find out, starting with Hangar. Main thing about this one is that I need to get as much done as I can to prepare for the siege, which is harder to do when I can't jump to reach certain things I want, like Artifact C or Frog's Vest. And as you're probably aware, the shields of the vests have 600 hit points, so the sooner you deal with those, the better your odds of making it through the siege alive. So I started by powering the docks to get diving gear, to get the squid scooters and shield pack from the lake. And after some difficulty gliding out of the water with the squid scooter, made my way to the lair to upgrade my shield pack and disable Hornet's vest twice. Then I went to the mirror and shattered the Giver's game completely, getting 5 health boosts, 5 beacons, and a cash note, all of which were fine. With the first beacon, I had a huge stroke of luck getting Droney's help early day 2. I then disabled Leech's vest, obtained and ate the snack, and made my way to the hangar to drop off my loot. After that, it was just a matter of collecting and upgrading what I could, including my Gatling gun that I was lucky enough to get with my second beacon, a battle rifle I had collected along the way, artifacts B and C, a spare droney, and an extra line launcher. Once I was done with all that, it was time to power the hangar, go through another long item hunt, and finally get the pump started. I was a bit late to start, but I believed I had just enough time to make my escape. Now watch as I fight the frog spawns and parasites, all without jumping. Once I had done all that, I could very feasibly get the jack and prop up the plane. And for the flex, I used the Stinger on the Alpha Squad since I had plenty of time before the pump finally finished. And I used a tool bag to climb in, because I couldn't climb into the plane so easily, and then escaped with my life as night fell because it couldn't jump either. Okay, so actually you can climb into the plane. I just did it from the wrong side with my avatar, or wasn't tall enough to climb the other side. I'll have to look deeper into that another time, or not at all, because these little fun facts are a waste of my precious time already. Anyway, I bet you're like,
wow, man, Agent, you're so pro, but you're never gonna beat the orbit.
buddy, mark my words, you're about to see that happen, and I'm not even going to use a zip line. First things first, I pressed the yellow button without jumping. Then, without jumping, I powered the docks and pressed the red button without jumping. Then, without jumping, I fried the foliage off the solar panels and disabled Leech's vest before going to docks without jumping. Then, without jumping, I filled up a diving gear, just enough for whatever I needed. Then, without we don't need to talk about that. Without jumping, yeah, I totally got the squids without jumping that time. Then without jumping, I went to the giver and got the same loot as last time, set off a beacon, and then fell asleep without jumping. Then without jumping, I woke up, I picked up Droney and got the shield pack out of the water, and you guessed it. Without jumping, I pressed the green button. I bet you made that guess without jumping too. Then without jumping, am I overdoing this? Is this annoying to listen to? Or is the sound of the suffering in my voice making up for the monotony while I'm getting the cash and pressing the blue and white buttons without jumping, not to mention upgrading my items and disabling Hornet's vest without jumping? Needless to say, the dragon arrived without jumping. So I decided to ignore the dragon and activate the mineshaft pylon without jumping. Now I know what you're thinking.
But Agent, don't you need a line launcher to get past all the acid?
Here's the thing, I have 2 squid scooters and an upgraded shield pack. I don't need to get over the acid for most of the obby when I can just walk right through the acid with my shield pack equipped. And so, I activated the mineshaft pylon without jumping. Now what about the arches pylon, you ask? Easy peasy. But wait, how am I going to get out of here without jumping? Well, this is why you bring a squid scooter in advance, because the water is a bit more than deep enough to make squid scooters a viable option without jumping. What did you expect me to use, a strange rock, and ruin my perfect RNG without jumping? Anyways, I talked to the dragon in my sleep without jumping. Then, without jumping, I rang the bell and started destroying the mercenaries with my proton cannon, because that's how pros do it every time, am I right? Wait, they use maggot missile? No, that can't be right. But in the end, I ran out of ammo because I couldn't jump, so I had to visit Mantis and ward off Stan without jumping. It was awkward trying to find a good angle to talk to Mantis from, but I figured it out without jumping. Then I teleported without jumping and used my squid to go through the lake before picking up a flamethrower to finish off the mercenaries with the assistance of my new companion. Mantis killed Leech, Droney killed Hornet, and Frog was disintegrated by Mantis despite the fact I didn't disable the vest because, like me, Frog couldn't jump. And then, after a scary night with the Giver and a frightful encounter with Stan trying to kill Droney again, I watched Commander die a shameful death because he jumped in one of my runs. Now one final challenge remained, getting inside the spaceship. For you guys playing Orbit normally, you're probably laughing because this is the easiest part of the orbit. Little do you know that by not jumping, I made this 1,000 times harder by requiring myself to use tool bags to give myself some hope of escaping this alive. Then, when I was sure I could enter without jumping, I let Mantis open up the hatch and then climb my way up the walls and into the ship without jumping, and thus, without jumping, I beat every escape Isle had to offer. Consequently, this means I've beaten Isle without jumping. Now I know what you're thinking at this point, now that I've done these incredible feats without jumping. What about this badge, and that badge, and this badge, and that badge? No, not happening.
But Agent, I'm a member and saw your full footages before you released this video. You jumped at all these points in your videos. You couldn't beat Isle without jumping. The temptation is too strong.
I didn't jump. Those were just visual bugs with Windows Game Bar. Yeah, okay, fine. So I couldn't help my thumb slipping a few times on the space bar. So I decided to make it such that if jumping caused a situation that couldn't be remedied, such as an escape item being put in place by jumping or sitting in an escape seat before I could escape, that only then would I restart the no jump run. Otherwise, I'd just slow myself down a bit depending on the location and continue. Think of it like hurting my already aching legs from all the streams I do for you guys. I hope with all that cleared up, I can finally end this video without jumping. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm free from the no jumping curse. Shoutouts to all my channel members, and thank you so much for supporting my channel in these tough times. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more content. Okay, sorry for the extension, but a little update since I don't quite have the time for a full update video on my situation right now, but I've admittedly had a harder time bringing myself to do uploaded content like this because it takes more effort and motivation to edit a video than it does to stream, especially since my channel seems to grow faster with the streams nowadays than the edited videos, so expect to see more streams in the future than uploaded content at this point. I've also been forcing myself to upload and stream more IL content than what seems healthy to me and perhaps my audience as well. I feel like I've been doing too much more of the same kind of content, which has certainly hurt my motivation to keep going with it, especially since my view counts are getting lower on average. So I'm hoping to quit IL9 content soon on this channel for a while.
But Agent, what about my challenge requests?
I'll be open to them again someday, just not right now. I have a life outside of YouTube, and that must come first for me. Not Windniam Exterminator with scoped rifle or whatever cruel challenge you have in mind. If you still rabidly crave IL content, I recommend you check out IL Enthusiast's channel, because he's been exploring more of the possibilities of IL than any other IL creator I've known recently. I'll be back for IL 10 though, and when I am, my sequel series, The Windniam Ordeals, will become one of my priorities for my channel as time avails. In the meantime, it's about time I visit some new games for this channel and revisit some of the games I've grown up with. I've been wanting pretty badly to play some Mega Man games again, and what better way to do so than to stream them on my channel. And that modded series I hoped to do months ago is still on my radar, so I'll also be doing some research into setting up my own mod pack. With Minecraft making content guidelines more strict, I may or may not need to wait until conditions improve with Mojang. I also have an adventure map in the making for which I've procrastinated on development for a long time due to lack of motivation to continue the map. Chances are I may potentially incorporate the map into a server if conditions work out for that. And last but not least, quitting IL content for now should also give me some time to work on my game development projects again. So if you like watching people make games, then I'll be sure to upload some footage of projects I have in the works. Anyways, thanks for hearing me out. Thanks again for watching, and see y'all next mission.